This is the Chapter 3 review, and so the first question is asking for the point of the vertex, which is right there, which is at the point -2, comma, let's change colors here, -2, comma, looks like 6, 7, 8, and because that is the top, my maximum value is -8. So I already have my answers for A and B. For C, it says find a domain. The domain here is all reals, because anytime you have a parabola in just a regular graph, the domain is going to be all reals. The range, well, since we have a maximum of 8, that shouldn't be -8 but +8. My range is y is less than or equal to 8. And you can write it either way. The x-intercepts are these 2 points over here where we cross the x-axis. So that's going to be at x equals +2 and x equals -6. And that's it for problem number 1. For problem number 2, they give us this problem and they want us to put it in vertex form. So I'm going to start out by doing x squared minus 6x and put the point 8 over here. I'm going to complete the square, which is b divided by 2 squared, which in this case is -6 divided by 2 squared, which is 9. So I add 9 right there. If I add 9 there, I'm going to subtract 9 on the outside. So this turns out to be x minus 3 squared, because I need two numbers that multiply up to 9 and add up to -6. And it's always going to be the same number, because we're always going to have something squared. And then 8 minus 9 is -1. So that is my vertex form. For B, it says find the coordinates of the vertex. Well, we do the opposite of the inside and leave the outside alone. And for letter C, they want us to factor x squared minus 6x plus 8. And what we need to do is we need to find two numbers that multiply up to be 8 and add up to be -6. So x and x, 4 and 2 add up to be 6, so it should be -4 and -2. In problem number 3, because there's a 2 in front, I need to factor 2 from the first two terms, and then I'm going to keep the 11 separate. I'm going to do b divided by 2 squared, which in this case is 4 divided by 2 squared, which is 4. So I'm going to add 4 right here. Now on the outside, I'm going to subtract 8, because really, when I add 4 inside, that's really 2 times 4, because of 2 on the outside. So to balance the +8, I have to subtract 8. The 2 stays the same, plus 3. What two numbers multiply up to be 4 and add up to be 4? X plus 2 squared. So we wind up with -2, comma 3. Because this is a positive number, so that was my answer for part B. Because this number is +2, we have a minimum, and we always use the y value at 3. Alright, for problem number 4, the first part asks for a minimum. So my minimum is this point right here. So that is at 3, -3. It's looking for a maximum, which is at 0, 0. It's asking for the x-intercepts, which is once again at 0, 0. And then this point is at somewhere between 4 and 5, so we're going to say 0, 0. And we're just going to estimate it at 4.5, 0. The y-intercepts. So C is where across the x-axis. D is where across the y-axis. So once again, that happens at 0, 0. End behavior. For the first part of end behavior, we're looking at the left side where x goes to negative infinity. Well, that's down over here, which is heading towards negative infinity. The second part says x goes to positive infinity, which is talking about the right side, which is up here. And on the right side, y is going to positive infinity. Alright, so in problem number 5, we need to change this to be 18x because, well, we did. And so you put this in your calculator and you try and graph it and you don't see anything, so we need to change the window. So on my next page, this will be what my window is after doing some that x-min should be 0. Can't really see it there. And then I'll show you the graph in the next picture. Alright, so the first question says, how many do you need to sell to break even? So under Y2 I have 0 because that's what I'm trying to do. And then second, trace, calc. And then you hit enter 3 times and it will tell you that it is 16.4. But as I said in class, you can't do 16.4 blenders, so we're going to sell 17 blenders. And so that's my answer for part A. Then we're going to do second, trace, maximum to figure out the approximate maximum profit. I'm going to put my left side over here and my right side over here. And then I don't like to guess. And the Y value is the profit, so the Y value turned out to be about $5,006. So that's what I'll write. About $5,006 is my profit. For problem number 6, we're going to divide these. So I'm going to start out with x squared divided by x, which is x, and multiply them by what's in front. So x squared times x is x squared. X times -3 is -3x. And when we subtract them, the x squareds cancel. -5 minus -3 is -2x. And then bring down the 4. Then I'm going to do -2x divided by x because those are my first two terms. And that's going to be -2. Multiply those by what's in front. That's -2x. -2 times -3 is +6. And when I subtract, -2x minus -2x is 0, which always happens. And 4 minus 6 is -2, which means that's my remainder. And there's my answer. X minus 2 plus -2 over x minus 3. Alright, so for this one, We're going to start out with 4x cubed divided by 2x, which is 2x squared. Multiply by in front. 2x times 2x squared is 4x cubed. 2x squared times 1 is 2x squared. And when we subtract them, those always cancel. And 2 minus 2 actually cancels as well, but I'm still going to write down 0x squared just to keep the pattern going. Minus 2x. So 0x squared divided by 2x is 0x. Once again, I know that we don't really need the x there. When I multiply 0x in front, we get 0x squared plus 0x. And when I subtract them, those cancel, and that's negative 2x. Bring down to negative 3. Negative 2x divided by 2x is negative 1. Negative 2x minus 1. Subtract. Cancel. Negative 3 minus negative 1 is negative 2. So we got plus negative 2 over 2x plus 1. For problem number 7, we're going to put 1 on the outside because x minus 1, we always use the opposite number. And then the coefficients on the inside. 1, 4, negative 6, positive 1. Drop the 1 straight down. 1 times 1 is 1. Add these two. 4 plus 1 is 5. Multiply to the front. 5. Negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. Multiply to the front. 1 minus 1 is 0. And that's remainder. Since this problem started with x cubed, my answer is going to start with 1 less, which is x squared, plus 5x minus 1. No remainder, so I didn't worry about a remainder. Next problem, we got 2, negative 21, 9, and negative 8. And on the outside is a negative 3. Drop the 2 down. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 21 minus 6 is negative 27. Multiply by the negative 3 in front. That is 81. That's 90. 90 times 3 is negative 270, which is negative 278. So my answer is 2x squared minus 27x plus 90 with a remainder of negative 278 divided by x plus 3. Alright, so for this problem, I put in y1 for this, y2 is equal to 0, and I find the intersects. So one time I guess over here, one time I guess over here, and the third time I guess over here. So when I get the answers, I got x equals negative 1, x equals 2, and x equals 3. Now when they want us to do the factors, I need to put the 3 sets of parentheses. If I got an answer of negative 1, that means x plus 1 is a factor. When I do x equals 2, I get x minus 2 as a factor because it's always the opposite, and x minus 3. And then that problem's finished. Alright, the same thing for 8b. Here's my picture, and then I need to guess over here, and over here, which was negative 2 was my first intersect, positive 1, and positive 5. Which means for negative 2 we got x plus 2, for positive 1 we have x minus 1, and for 5 we get x minus 5. For this problem, the only zero that was rational is this one over here, which gave me x equals -4. And so for part A, my answer is x equals -4. So then for part B, I don't need this anymore. So for part B, I'm going to have -4 on the outside, 1, 5, 1, -12 on the inside. 1 times -4, 1 times -4, 1 plus -4 is -3, and we should always get a remainder of 0. So we wind up with x squared plus x minus 3 equals 0. Then for part C, we're using the quadratic formula where a equals 1, b equals 1, and c equals -3 because these are basically 1's in front of a and b. So I got -1 in front because -b. 2 times 1 on the bottom. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times -3 gives me the square root of 13 when I put this in my calculator, divided by 2, and that's the answer for part C. Let me know if you have any questions.